Hello and welcome to episode 168 of the SideQuest podcast, featuring a new guest host, Crusader. Crusader, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
There we go.
He's like, I'm out.
I've had enough already. I've been here for too long.
Yeah, it's super Scuf setup.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
And one of the developers of Trinity Fusion. I want to say Trinity Ghoul every
Because
time.
of
I'm sorry,
Destiny.
because of Destiny.
Fair. Fair.
If I say it, please correct me, because I'm a dummy.
Don't
it's
worry
Craig.
about it.
Is that correct?
Hi, that's my name.
Thank you.
You
for
know, one
coming
of the
on.
fun
We can't
things
wait to
about
talk.
one of the fun things about the name that we chose for the game is I have a tweet deck feed for Trinity Fusion, and you would be surprised at how often people are actually just talking about Destiny build crafting. Because anytime somebody talks about Trinity Ghoul and a fusion rifle in their loadout, it pops up. And it's just like, that's a fun little bonus.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's so funny.
Wait, breaking news: is TweetDeck still working?
Kind of. It does. It works on some of my computers. It doesn't work on my workstation anymore.
Interesting.
The button to compose a new tweet is gone.
You don't want to talk to anybody.
I
on
don't
Twitter
know what to
anyway.
do about that. So
What good could possibly come of
they're
that?
also blocking any links. So like I try to
Oh,
post a link
Jesus.
and it's just like I get an error message that says something like Twitter is at capacity right now. I'm just like, that is absolutely not true. I know that's not true.
I had an entertaining afternoon. It's a new magazine day here, so I got the new
Yeah.
issue of Retro Gamer in the mail, which I'm very
Ooh.
excited about.
Mm.
And then this magazine came in this very
Fancy.
ominous black.
Yeah, or some kind of orders from the government.
I was-
What possibly could be
Is
in
that like-
here besides porn? It was a new Nintendo Power.
Wait, they got a new Nintendo. Oh, it's
No,
a reprint, right?
It's an old Nintendo Power. If you go to the
Ooh.
Video Game History Foundation,
Ooh.
you can they collect all of the old video game magazines, and the stuff that they don't use, or like if they got doubles, you can subscribe and they'll send them to you once a month, like as if you're getting them in the mail when you were a kid.
Oh.
So,
Awesome. And it's got like Tetris on the cover?
yeah, this one's from November/December of 1989. It's got Tetris.
I used to love
Wow.
Yeah.
I used to love getting those in the mail, man.
But really, the most exciting part is that it comes in this like black.
that is hey, it
Everybody
keeps it
assumes you're getting porn.
I was gonna say, are you gonna get one of those cell phones from the Matrix in one of those? You know?
Ooh.
I would still rock that cell phone, to be honest with you. That's still the coolest cell phone I ever saw. The one with the
You can
sit-down
actually
box.
buy them.
Like the spring-loaded nature
They're
of it.
on sale, like
Oh, that's-
somewhere. Yeah, those are the coolest.
That's got to be the worst marketing mess up on the planet, not to have those cell phones available when that movie came out, because
Yes.
everybody wanted that cell phone.
Yes.
Oh man. I thought it was. That's a shame.
I think it came out later, but it wasn't ready when you were watching
wasn't
the
as
Matrix.
cool.
It was like when Revolutions
just a
came
prop.
out, they had the cell phone ready, and you didn't care about the Matrix anymore after Revolutions came out.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Briar has opinions that makes everyone upset. It is
Yeah.
okay. That's Briar's thing.
Look, I'm not gonna say it's a cinematic masterpiece, but also I'm gonna say, yeah, I enjoyed watching that in theaters.
So, Trinity Fusion.
Yeah, Trinity Fusion.
Trinity Fusion, the
Okay,
reason I'm
yeah,
here.
the game. I was lucky enough to play it previously, and I saw it. And I was like, "What is this game?" I hadn't heard of it. Richard reached out to me with a code for it, and I played it on stream, and it was super fun. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
I watched
one
that
of-
stream actually.
Oh, did
Sorry,
you?
not to cut you- I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
Yeah,
please
yeah.
do. That's all we do.
I tried to watch everyone's stream. I watched Crusader's stream of it as well. It was very funny watching
Oh.
him fight the bosses.
And the amount of freak out when I found out that you guys were watching, I was like, oh my god, you guys just saw me being a dumbass on stream.
It will make you self-conscious. Yeah, you're like, oh no, I'm not doing anything right.
Deb in
Oh,
chat,
God,
yeah.
these-
I'm glad
Yeah,
Nicholas
but
I
wants me to
was
play.
very enthusiastic to kill that final boss. Oh my god, was that final boss fun?
And we made it harder for the next beta.
Oh,
Really?
Come on,
exciting.
I'm here for it.
But anyway, I'm sorry, I completely derailed this. Go on.
No. I was just gonna say it's really fun, super fun, and
you.
it's got a very interesting and unique thing about it. Would you like to explain what Trinity Fusion is and kind of the unique aspect about it?
Sure, let me just give like the whole marketing spiel then.
Yeah.
Okay, so Trinity Fusion is a roguelite action platformer. It is set in a dying man-made multiverse. And you play as Maya. She is a woman who is psychically connected to her alternate selves across the multiverse. Basically, the people that she works for, they've realized that there's a fundamental flaw in the way that they originally constructed the multiverse, and they can't really get rid of it because everything's too causally connected. If you were just to let one branch disappear, you would cause a rippling chaos across all the rest of them because they've just become so intertwined. And so they've got this plan. They've got these branches that are all sort of like branching out and they're fizzling into nothing. The idea is bring them all together and fuse them back into one stable timeline. The problem is the people who live in those branches don't exactly like somebody else being in control of their fate. And they are kind of pushing back. So your job is to get to the machines that have already been set up on each of those branches and initiate the fuse, because otherwise nobody's going to survive. Period. And so the idea, though, the main gameplay mechanic that we're working on right now is that as you play through the game, you're going to be unlocking new starting points within the multiverse. You're going to be able to fuse biomes, so like they will begin to overlap. And you'll be like, instead of saying, "Oh yeah, I'm in the wastes," no, you're in the waste that's also been like taken over by this massive, like horrible biomass infection that came from one of the other universes. So we're still working on that, but we're very excited for it.
Yeah, it's really fun to play because you get to pick between like 3 different characters, but they're the same person. So it's really interesting that you get to pick one, and then you can also switch between them in the middle of playing through one of your playthroughs. So
Yeah,
they all have different abilities, which is super cool.
And when you fuse them, you'll have access to more abilities simultaneously, is the idea. So
that's awesome.
as you go through your run and these biomes merge, your characters will also merge and become a new version of themselves.
That's
You'll
cool.
have access to, like if you merged Naira, who's our ranger, and Kara, who's our warrior, you're suddenly a ranger who also has Kara's, bionic prosthetic arm that also functions as a grapple hook.
Yeah,
Things like
it's
that. So it
thrilled when I
that's
expands
I didn't
your.
know that part. That's awesome.
We kind of put it at the end of the demo where it's just like at the very tail end of it, we show off some like clips of how the mechanic is supposed to work, and it's not quite ready yet, but that's the goal.
Oh, that's super fun. Because even just having the 3 different characters that are the same person that all have a very unique mechanic to them or unique playstyle, different weapons that they can use, like that alone is really fun, and being able to switch between them in the middle of a run. But yeah, having them fuse together is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to when we can get that into people's hands.
And the weapons are very fun as well. It just kept getting more and more different weapon types, and I was like, oh my goodness, there's another one. Oh my goodness, there's another one.
I couldn't stop using the big hammer. You give me a big hammer and I'm a happy boy.
I worked very hard on tuning that big hammer so
I
that
like
it felt
the big
good.
hammer. It does feel good.
I was really enjoying
I think-
Naira. I love
I
her sniper
think-
rifle.
Going back to the hammer, though, I think that the neutral charged attack for the hammer is my favorite move in the game, just because I spent so much time working on it. Because like that first swing when you spin around, yeah, I spent a lot of time making sure that when you hit the enemy with the first swing, it knocks them back just far enough that the second swing comes down on their head.
See, that's the kind of
It's a
stuff
very
we
silly,
don't
very
think
silly
about.
thing to be
It's very important.
proud of, but look, if you use the attack and it misses, that's a terrible feeling.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's
If
true.
if the core of the hammer is you swing it and then you bonk them on the head and you can't reach the head after the swing, it's like, well, what am I doing here? How am I supposed to get this to work?
I was also thrilled when I could jump up in the air and swing it like over my head and smash things. It's a cool
Yeah.
hammer, man. It's a good hammer.
It's a good hammer.
Good hammer.
Hey, it's not easy to make weapons feel incredible. Otherwise, every game would do it. It's not an easy thing.
And they need to feel good.
Absolutely.
So
But anyway,
playing
yeah.
through the demo for the first time, I played entirely on the Steam Deck. Unfortunately, my Steam Deck battery, I think my Steam Deck battery is dying already because the thing's like lasts like an hour now. But
Yeah. Oh no. Lots of noise.
I was getting like,
You say that.
maybe it was because I was playing a handheld, and I last year or the year before, I just came off playing Metroid Dread on the handheld. But like,
Yeah.
I got like kind of like a Metroid-ish like feel from the movement of the character. Is that intentional? Like, is that a I don't know. Did you get this?
Choice.
Well,
Metroid?
we kind of have sort of like a somewhat Metroid aesthetic in certain areas, but actually the movement was based on some other games that I was playing at the time. For example, there's kind of like a 2D Souls-like I was playing called Foregone, and it just had this incredibly smooth platforming, and I was just like, I want to replicate that feel because it was just, you could just slide, you could just jump, you would carry some of your momentum forward, you would do an air dash, and you can carry your momentum from that into an attack, and I was just like, that feels really good. I want to do something like that.
Yeah.
And so for the character movement, that was mainly the goal, was that these little like air dodges and dashes that you can do, you carry a little bit of momentum. So like as you're attacking, actually, when you mentioned the Steam Deck, I was testing something earlier, but yeah, I love playing the game on the Steam Deck. Like when you do a dash and then you turn around and do an attack, actually your momentum reverses and it pulls you towards the direction that you're now attacking. So it maintains your momentum, but it just like flips you around real quick. So it, carries you closer towards the enemy. So if you like overshot it with your dash, it just brings you back, that kind of thing. So Metroid was definitely something we were looking at in terms of like environment design and things like that. But when it comes to movement, we were looking entirely different places.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah. How did you, when you were thinking of making this game, where did it initially start as? Did you know that you wanted to do this thing with the 3 different types of characters, or did that kind of progress further into development?
So we knew we wanted to do the 3 characters, and we knew we wanted to make sort of like a roguelike. We wanted to do something that was just very replayable, and we wanted something that allowed you to like swap between characters. A couple of us were playing like Trine at the time, where it's just like, oh yeah, you get these little puzzles, you switch characters in the middle of it. You just press a button and you're a new character now. So it really came down to, we wanted to facilitate multiple different playstyles because we came from, we're actually building it off top of what we did for Brawlout, which was a platform finder kind of like Smash. So we had this thing where we could easily put together like a bunch of different characters, a bunch of different movesets and play styles. And so it just sort of like evolved from that, where it's just like, we want a couple of distinct movesets basically that you can sort of choose between.
Very cool.
Because like we'd already built this big system to very quickly create a brand new character with different moves, different fields of attacks, different weights, all that other stuff. And it's just like, we might as well use this because this seems like a pretty unique idea that no one else is doing right now. So let's do it.
Yeah, it is super unique. That's really like what got me, because like I like roguelites, I like 2D scroller kind of games. Like I'm all about that. But then when I saw the unique mechanic of the 3 different types of characters, that was when I was like, okay, we might have to check this out immediately, because this is very different. I've not seen that before.
Yeah, no, we're really looking forward to actually like getting like the merge thing, because again, it includes the whole like building a character really fast kind of thing. It's just like we were able to do that because it's just like, 6 different characters that the player can, or 6 or 7 different versions of the same character that the player can play as. That's easy. We did like 24 in the last game.
No sweat. How close is the game to being like, I don't know, like complete? Is a game ever complete? First question, is a game ever complete anymore? Second question, how close is your game to being fully complete?
Is a game ever complete anymore? That is just answer that on a case-by-case basis. I'm sorry. There's no way to answer that one anymore. How close is our game to complete? We are still quite a ways out. So right now, the idea is we're trying to build out the base of the game as much as we can. So like the core mechanics, how the game feels, main progression, how we scale enemies. We've gotten a lot of feedback from that from Next Fest. We're actually going back to the drawing board on things like how we scale up weapons and how we scale enemy difficulty as the player plays, because quite a few players gave us a couple of decent, very good suggestions on that. So we're currently like workshopping that at the moment. With new ideas, like one of the things that we were floating around was, you know what? No, I'm not going to say that, because then it becomes a promise.
Yeah.
But we heard people's
But you
feedback on that, and we're working
promised.
on it. Yeah, exactly, right. So we're workshopping a couple of different ideas to scale up the weapons and make them a little bit more interesting. Because right now, one of the complaints people had was that new weapons weren't much of a choice, because the new one is almost always a little bit better than what you've got.
Because it just scales,
So-
like it pops up with like every once in a while a message that says new weapons are scaled to like level 4, right? Is that what's
Right.
happening?
And
then
so
the
like the
next
next
weapon
weapon
you
you
get is gonna be
find is
more
going to be
powerful.
slightly better than the one you've
Even if
gotten.
it's
So
not a
like,
hammer.
right. Craig breaking out that we're listening. Quiet, you. I can say that. I know you. But anyway, where was I? Oh, right.
Scaling.
We're a long ways out. We're working on the core of the game so that way we can just start doing content. Because like once we actually have that worked out, like the more intricate details of how the game is going to progress, we can just build it. Right. So
Yeah.
we're still working on the foundation. And we wanted to get people's opinion as early as possible, because one thing that we learned with our previous game is that the moment you hit 1.0, all of the agility that you had in development is just gone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It becomes really difficult, I can imagine, to, especially if players have something, to then take it away and rework it. Because there's going to be some players, regardless of whether that feature could be better, it's going to be some players that love that thing. So you
Yeah.
have very little wiggle room to just be like, no, we're actually going to take it away and make it something different.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. Yes.
It's very
That's
interesting to hear.
That's a debate we had a lot while we were working on Brawlout, because like it's a fighting game, right? It's a fighting
Right,
game.
yeah.
You can't just change the feature set once you've actually like balanced it and you've got all the characters out and people like know how to play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we're very excited. We're not quite sure what the release window is going to be like yet. We're like I said, still a long ways out
It's interesting because playing the
from
game,
at
you're
least
like,
1.0.
this
Yeah, I
feels
figured
good.
next month, ready to go.
Yeah, you're playing it and you're like, this
do it.
looks great. It feels great. All of the systems feel like very well fleshed out. So that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's all about just making sure it's as the core of the game is as perfect as possible, so we can just start building more of it. You know,
How big a team is working on it?
we are 10 people actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, very small.
quite a few of us work remote full time, and some of us, we've sort of come back to the office a little bit.
How's that
Yeah,
been?
it's just a very small
what's
team.
it like developing a game like remotely? Is it easier? Is it harder?
So meetings and playtest sessions are harder for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a little bit more difficult to organize.
Mm-hmm.
The playtest sessions especially. But other than that, a lot of people just pretty self-determined. They have their tasks, they complete them, and it's not really much of an issue whether or not you're in the office or not.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I can imagine there's plus and minuses. Like my husband will, in break, sometimes he'll go take a nap because he can just go to bed. Whereas if he's at the office, he can't really do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very liberating in one way, because
Yeah.
it's just like you don't have to worry about just sitting there for 8 hours and doing your work. It's just like
Right.
as long as you get your work done, yeah, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
And then
Right.
for someone like me, it's just like I need a dedicated space to work. So like for
Yeah.
me personally, it's like I will go out on my balcony when it's warm, at least if I have to work from home, because it's just like I'm away from my TV, I'm away from like the gaming machine.
Yeah.
I'll just get my laptop that I usually just use for work, and it's just like, all right, out on the balcony, I'm staying out here until I'm done with my job.
Yeah, the separation can be very helpful. Otherwise, where
Yeah.
does work end? It never ends.
Yep.
Never.
It's good to have that separation.
For sure.
So I had a question for Craig, obviously.
What's up?
So when I was playing, I noticed that all three of the alternate versions of Maya, they all had different reactions to being contacted by Maya. They all, I remember Naira in particular. She was just kind of like, "Oh, this is my alternate self. Whatever. Okay, I'll get this
Naira's
done."
kind of mean.
Yes, I noticed that immediately. Naira is kind of mean. So that made me thinking, will the game be voice acted?
Oh, it already
I
is.
would. It's
The
already
next
voice
best
acted.
demo is fully voiced.
Oh, that's
Oh,
makes me
wow.
excited because I really like the whole concept of, same person, different alternate universes, but the whole behavior towards, meeting Maya got me interested a lot. So I was very curious about that.
Yeah, no, the next best demo is fully voiced. We got a lot of feedback on the voices. We're going to be, well, some of them are actually just great, and then some of them were specifically Ewar Guardian. Everyone's just like, that guy's kind of cartoony. I'm just like, Bogdan came in. He's just like, we need a voice line for this, like right now. Do you have a microphone? I'm like, no. So that is just me trying to do a voice into my phone,
Oh,
and then
wow.
just like process the hell out of it. It was just like, it came across as a little cartoony, which is just like, yeah, because I'm not actually a good voice actor, and also that particular character's voice was just like, we don't have this line, please do this.
It's gonna be really cool to hear because it's the same person but in different dimensions. So it's really cool to see the different personalities as well. And voice acting is definitely gonna really sell that and show the differences.
I wish I had her name on standby. The girl that's voicing Altara, Maya, Kara, and Naira. Oh, I'm hearing some echo now. Thank you, Twitch. I wish I had that on hand. I wish I had written that down, but unfortunately I don't. She's doing a very good job, though.
So it's all the same voice actress.
Yeah, it's all
characters.
it's the same person across 4 different universes. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It does make sense. Yeah, that's got to be a really fun voice acting job for her as well, to be like the same character but very different personalities.
I love how, like, I've talked to people about that as well. It's always interesting when you have like someone who just voices so many characters in one scene, and they have to come up with new and interesting ways to differentiate them.
Yeah.
I want to answer this question in the chat real quick.
Yeah,
Somebody
please
says
do.
probably already asked, but let's see here. Liger013, probably been asked already, but is there any console plans in the future? Yes.
Ooh.
Right now we have the
Physical release
game.
plans?
Physical release plans, I don't have anything to like say on that. It's just way too early. We did do a limited physical release for Brawlout, so it's not off the table. We've done it before. But we do already have the game running on the Xbox One, like the old VCR version, and we have it running on the Series S just fine. They're both running at 60 FPS. We actually demoed the game that way at EGX. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, if you were playing at EGX, you were either playing on a Steam Deck, a laptop, or an Xbox. We didn't tell people which one it was.
Oh,
right. You just
wow.
kinda had it
That's
behind
really
the
interesting.
Yeah, we are working on consoles. So
It ran great on the Steam Deck. Like it was
it
perfect.
runs at a locked 60. I love seeing
Yeah.
that flat line on the GameScope.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little
that's
worried when I
great.
first downloaded it because sometimes, like the 2D action games, everything can be a little bit too small for the Steam Deck screen, but everything worked out fine. It was good. It was perfect.
Yeah, no,
Steam Deck game.
We're paying a lot of attention to like the size of things on screen just to make
Because
sure
of the
that
Steam
it's
Deck?
mostly, yeah, the Steam Deck, because it's like you were targeting like 720p on the Steam Deck. You need to be able to see it, and sometimes like our UI is a little like the fine lines we put on the UI can seem a little weird on Steam Deck. We're still
Sure.
working on that, but like we made sure all the text is readable. We made sure that the effects are at least large enough that you can differentiate them in the heat of a battle.
Yeah,
So,
because
yeah,
right on the page it says played on Steam Deck, so it's clear that you guys are like targeting for it to be working well on Steam Deck.
Again, I was just testing it a little bit earlier today. Like we play it on Steam Deck and even on like just to make sure it's running on Proton like constantly.
That's awesome.
So we
Yeah,
want to make
it's a
sure
great
that it
Steam
works
Deck
on
game.
Steam Deck. My boss doesn't use the Steam Deck very much anymore. He's just like, I don't use it anymore. Me, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
do
a
as well.
great way to clear out your backlog and play indie games.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's what I was most excited for, is getting through the indie games that I want to play so much on the Steam Deck, because so
Yeah.
many of them are so perfect on the Steam Deck.
Yeah. It's a great platform for indies. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. And not only that, but everyone's looking for a great new indie game to play on the deck.
That's true.
So it's
Tell
a
me
great
about it.
platform, and it's
There's
a
only so
great
much
time to put
Vampire
it on the
Survivors I can
platform.
play.
One of the first games I installed on my Steam Deck when I got it.
Nice.
Gotta have me some Vampire Survivors.
Oh yeah, that game is like crack. It's terrible.
I've got a coworker that's playing it quite a bit. I just haven't jumped into it because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to pull myself away from it.
Yeah.
This will become a problem.
They released it on phones, and I'm just like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I was just,
Oh my
it'll just-
goodness.
everything ends when I
No.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no phones.
So
Yeah,
I get
no,
the
we-
most use out of my Steam Deck whenever around like 3 p.m. every day when it's time to pick up my brother from school. I either go to his school, physically pick him up, or I wait for a school bus. And every time I'm waiting for a school bus, I'm just there, Steam Deck in hand, just looking out the window, just peeking every 3 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really good for those in between times. I find that I was playing today. I was watching there's a Street Fighter V tournament happening right now, the Capcom Pro Tour. So I was watching.
Oh yeah, this is
8
the last
hours
one,
of
right?
that. Yeah. Well, it's the last
Yeah.
Capcom one.
It's the last one for Street Fighter V.
Right. And
Right.
so I was just kind of watching that, and I was playing your game and just having a ball. You know, it was just like I was like leaning
Nice.
back in the couch, having that 2-screen experience that they used to talk about, and they meant you were watching TV and messing with a
Yeah.
tablet or something. But really, I'm like half paying attention to the Capcom Pro Tour and playing your game, and it was fantastic.
God,
I'm
I
glad
haven't watched.
developers are
I'm s-
targeting the Steam Deck. That's really nice.
Yeah, no, it's especially for indies, it's a fantastic piece of hardware. Like, and it's also like a great like target platform because it's just powerful enough that like it's a great like minimum spec, I guess. Like I actually have we've been trying to make sure that the game runs on just about everything. Like people talk about, oh yeah, I don't know if my toaster PC can play it. I'm like, it's running it like it's not running on high settings, but it's running at 60 FPS on my Surface. If I set the
Oh, really?
resolution to like 720, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So like we're trying to make it sure that as many people can play it as possible. So we're targeting like the last gen consoles. We're talking the Steam Deck.
No,
The
that's
Xbox
awesome.
One, I would imagine almost that the Steam Deck would be more powerful than the first Xbox One.
I think it is actually
Yeah.
because we had to do a lot to get the game running really good on the Xbox One,
Yeah.
but we got it.
We got it.
Very nice. Oh, that's great to hear that it's going to be on consoles like right at launch, because I know with a lot of indies they do Steam and then later on maybe consoles if it goes well with optimizing for the console. So it's great to
Yeah,
hear
the
that's
plan-
gonna be right away.
The plan is Steam, and then once we're like ready with 1.0 consoles.
No, that's great. It's perfect.
Because like I said, the moment you hit 1.0, especially if you're releasing on consoles, all that agility you had in development it vanishes.
Why is that? Is that
Especially
'cause,
for, like, a
you're-
small
You're
studio.
not bug fixing, or you're like dealing with. Why is that? Why do you say that?
Oh, it's mostly just an issue of now you have to basically support the game for multiple platforms,
Okay.
and there's a certification process involved, which takes a little while. So it's just like you can respond to feedback, and it's just like, that's right, we fixed that bug 2 weeks ago. You'll get it like in another 2 weeks or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of those things where it's just like the amount of work required to basically just do anything goes up a lot.
I was
And
gonna
for
say, is
a-
it like
like I
the
said, a team
challenge
of
of
10
doing things in
people.
tandem?
What?
Is it like the challenge of doing things in tandem, like as opposed to before 1.0 and doing things at the team's pace, where you can target the performance on the Steam Deck, target performance on your average consumer's PC, and then consoles, so forth, so forth.
It really is just more of just you're supporting another platform, and so the workload has gone up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And for a small team like ours, where we're doing everything in house, like we're handling all of the different consoles ourselves, it's just like getting an update out now takes longer for anything if we have to support multiple platforms simultaneously. So it's like we want to hit 1.0 and then we launch consoles.
Smart. Makes a lot of sense.
I do want to mention for audio listeners, yes, you are hearing a bird. You have not actually wandered outside by accident.
You can hear that? Okay, hold on.
I like his singing.
We're not upset that we're hearing a bird. I just wanted to mention it for people who don't see the bird.
Say hello to the computer friends.
I love them.
Don't worry, you're still inside, safely inside.
You're not being attacked by birds.
What kind of
You're
bird
not
is that?
teleported.
I've been talking long enough that he's doing his like talking noises. He's not actually saying anything. He can't say words. He just like makes things that somewhat sound like words.
That's like me after 5 beers.
I'm gonna give him a little bit of treat because he's being a good boy.
He is. He's just sitting there hanging out, giving us a little song, little background music.
Here you go, little guy.
I have a question about roguelites. What is it about roguelites that make them so popular with developers right now? Why are we seeing so many of them?
Well, if you talk about so when you talk about things like that, is one, it's a way to make a game feel very big. When you're talking about something that's very replayable. For two, if you look at what Supergiant did with Hades, if you watch their like developer documentary that NoClip did, one of the things they mentioned is they are able to play basically the entire game while they're still developing it. They don't have to keep going back and checking all these like different quests and things like that because basically the entire game is one run, right?
Interesting.
So it's very manageable. It's a way to make a very repeatable, like long play session kind of game, but able to keep it contained within what you can actually do. Your means, like when you're developing a game, you need to think about just like, here's what I want to do, here's what I can actually do.
Right. Yeah.
And roguelikes are very, very good for that. It's also just very trendy.
Is there a procedural generation to the levels of this, or are they the same every time I play it?
Okay, so the idea that we have is that the level should generate in roughly the same way. There is procedural generation right now. Like I built basically a ton of like different rooms for the game, and they are assembled pseudo randomly at the moment. As we get closer to release, there's going to be a lot more variety because right now there's basically just enough rooms to make sure that the levels actually are somewhat randomized and also aren't like massive, like too long, or they just generate in ways that aren't very fun to play. So we have this great little node system. Basically, I create sets of these rooms and I say, okay, so here, here, and here, I want these specific nodes. And then in between them, I have these other nodes that just get inserted randomly. So it's pseudo random. The structure of the level is going to be the same. Like in the case of Nature Underground, I think we call it Subterraria. Before the main exit, there is almost always an arena, either immediately before it or one room before or two rooms before it. But it's always going to be there.
Is that like the doors lock on both sides and you get a fight before you can leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the idea is that we have this pseudo-random sort of like level that we know it plays kind of well, and we randomize the pieces and the specific connections within levels. So you don't know exactly which direction you need to go, but you basically know what you're going to face.
So
like I said, as we get,
I'm not a moron. When she told me to keep going north, I'm like, which way is north?
Yeah. We might need to workshop that dialogue a little bit because you can only run to the right on that particular level. But yeah, so once we actually have that worked out, like the basic idea for the level, then I start just generating more rooms and I create more things that can be randomly inserted into it. And so yeah, the first level that you play in the game, which is the Wastes, it's just a flat shot, like left to right. There's a little bit of randomness in terms of one of the exits because you start climbing these floating rocks and these floating platforms and everything like that. And they've got this like cool effect around them where the rocks just sort of like orbit. But most of that level is just a straight shot left to right with a little bit of randomness in between. And as we get closer to release, that's going to change to be a lot more randomness in between.
Interesting.
So right now it's just
I felt like I had like kind of done a circle and unlocked a door that would give me a shortcut. Did I imagine that, or was that really happening?
That is a thing that we are trying to do in the level. It's actually really hard to build a procedural level that does that without just making the rooms themselves massive.
Yeah.
And so
I can imagine.
Not very random. So it is something that we are doing. It's just, it takes a lot of time to actually like plan out and set up that level to make it always work randomly. So yes, that is a thing. That is a thing. That takes a lot of effort to do. It's something that I'm willing to spend the time on though, because when you get those little shortcuts, it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate it too, that like it was worth slowing down a little bit and checking around, because there were secrets in there. Like sometimes you could like slide under a wall that wasn't necessarily like, it wasn't obvious to slide under here, or hit a wall that wasn't necessarily obvious, and you'd get like extra goodies. And I like that kind of thing. Yeah,
some of the walls are breakable. Some of them have these like little holes that you can slip through. You can usually find those ones if you like look at your map very carefully.
Oh.
But yeah, we hit a lot of like little secret areas, and they almost always have some sort of treasure inside of them.
Love that.
So there's a question I had about the levels is that, so I noticed the levels were large enough for a ton of exploration for secrets and just finding your path to the next stage. And you know, I eventually found that that portal or device that allowed you to switch characters in the middle of your run. But I did that once, and I noticed that, you know, it pretty much put me back into the beginning of the set of 3 levels, I believe it was, on the other character. So
you were
my
playing
question.
The beta. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was playing the beta, and that I'm pretty sure that was a much earlier build that I was playing. But my question is that will obviously that mechanic will be for 1.0. But my question is, will that mechanic allow us to do what you were mentioning earlier about fusing the 2 characters with their abilities? And another a follow-up question for that is, will that allow us to continue the I guess quote unquote dungeon run, to continue instead of like wanting to go to the final boss? Like, I don't feel comfortable enough, I want to get more upgrades, I want to get better weapons to go to the final boss. Because I remember fighting that final boss, I was like, okay, I am not comfortable with this build, but I'm gonna go for it anyway.
Yeah, since the last time you played it during the betas, we've already made some substantial changes. Why is that so hard to say? Yeah, right now what you do is you can actually take the character you're currently playing and go to a different universe with him, or you can pull one of the other characters you already have unlocked and bring them to your current universe. As we get closer to 1.0, we are going to be changing that a little bit once we actually have like the fusion stuff actually in play. But yeah, we've already substantially changed it from the last time you played it. I've kind of forgotten your second question, I think. I don't know if I've answered both of them.
So
sorry,
yeah,
he's really going off right now.
So the second question was, will we have the option to continue like dungeon crawling for gear, for loot, and just better upgrades before we find the portal towards the final boss of the stage?
So right now, if you pull the character that you have unlocked to your current biome, you can definitely do that. Otherwise, it basically functions as an exit to the next level, and you bring your current character to it. So we don't want players to just like run around collecting loot endlessly, just because like we want you to push forward eventually. So we're probably going to force you to do that, because I can only imagine the player just like, I'm going to play this one level over and over and over and over and over again because the game's not stopping me, and I'm just going to keep getting more and more powerful. And then they get to the next level, and we scale the difficulty based on the character's current power level. So you wouldn't be any better off doing that.
That's good.
Yes, hi.
Just singing.
The bird's got stuff to say. The bird's got answers.
He's got all the answers.
Yeah, what did the bird do to help with development? That's what we need.
Help me keep my sanity during lockdown. Oh, guy.
I
I
can't wait to
actually-
see the fusion in practice in game. It's a
I
really
mean, I've
cool
got a hold on. I've got a little clip of it actually. Something that we were doing some tests on.
Ooh.
Let me just. I need to minimize like 5 billion things first. 1 sec. There we go. Because I don't really have it set up. You're gonna see just a genuinely terrifying desktop in a sec. Hold on.
This is behind the
Let me
scenes
just-
we all want to see right here.
Yeah. The behind the scenes we all want to see. So yeah, just you got my little warlock joke
Oh
in there.
yeah. I am way into that picture.
Gonna need to steal that for DCP on Thursday.
But anyway, no, you probably saw a clip of this in the trailer. This little merged biome coming in.
That's so cool.
So yeah, this is actually a biome that we don't have in the demo yet, but it's hello playlist. But yeah, no, we have this. We're working on it. We're working on the biomes sort of overlapping. So that was like the factory biome that you see with Nairo being merged with one that we don't have a name for yet. We're just calling it Hive for now.
Interesting choice of name.
You. Hello.
If you're not watching live, Twitch chat is full of cat jams.
Nice.
Due
Well,
to
he-
the bird song.
He's trying the chocobo theme. He forgets it halfway through most of the time.
That's
I knew
amazing.
I
wanna
recognized
hear
that. I was
the
like,
chocobo
wait,
theme.
why does that sound so familiar?
Now, okay, hold on. You want attention, don't you? Come here. Step up, good boy. Now you want to sing for the camera? Do you want to sing for the camera?
Chocobo theme from the start, please. Thank you.
Yeah, chocobo theme from the start, from the top. Let's go.
So when you're not
Why you-
talking now, I don't.
Why are you
Right?
looking at me
All
like
of a sudden, camera shy, I think.
It's
Sage fright.
Put
like,
him
I'm
on the
only
spot.
okay when I'm blurry in the background, okay? Not when I'm the focus. Like-
Yeah, no, he was going off.
I love it.
Anyway, let's see here. Does anyone in the chat have any questions as well?
Yeah, if you guys
I'm-
have any questions, feel free to put them in chat. It's about Trinity Fusion, which is an upcoming roguelite
action
game, right?
platformer.
And
Action
the demo will
platformer.
be up for the rest of Next Fest, right? Are you guys planning on extending the length of that at all?
It'll be up for the rest of Next Fest for sure. Right now, like I said, I don't know if I said that when we were live or
It was
not, but
pre-show, I think.
we encountered kind of an annoying bug where people with much older processors were not able to run the game. And so we are currently looking into that right now. We might do something for them. I'm not entirely sure yet. I can't make any promises about it, but it's something that we recently got our hands on a computer that we can finally replicate the bug on. Because like when people started reporting it, I was going around installing the demo on literally everything that I could, and it was just like, it's not happening. I can't reproduce this. What could possibly be the cause? And then we determined, based on all the bug reports people were submitting, it's just like, oh, these processors are all like kind of old. Let's find a computer that has the same problem, and we found one.
That must
So,
be
we're
crazy to
currently
have to
working on
support.
that.
Like how old a computer? I saw your minimum. I don't remember your minimum specs, but they were pretty old. Like it was like a 960 or 970.
To be honest, it's not so much like no. You needed a fourth gen i5 or better is what we
Fourth
wrote
gen.
down, and there's no reason why an older processor shouldn't be able to play it. So we're kind of like racking our brains. It's just like people on the Steam forums were like, oh, we found this based on like this error log. It has to do with the game doesn't support AVX, or the game requires AVX2. And I'm just sitting here looking at the compiler settings. I'm just like, no. That might be the cause of the error, but that's not what the settings say. So it could be an issue of just like the compiler settings are wrong, even though we set them correctly. I don't know. That's not my like area of expertise. All I know is that I looked at as soon as people said that, I looked at the documentation, I looked at our settings, I was just like, it's set up correctly according to the documentation, but then Unity's documentation is kind of old and they don't update it that often. So who knows? We've replicated the bug. That's all I gotta say. Is like we replicated the bug. We're gonna work to fix it.
That's good. So you can play the demo right now on Steam, and Steam Next Fest ends tomorrow. So
yes,
if you want to check it out,
on when you
or
downloaded this podcast.
It's gone already.
But go back to yesterday and download it.
Yes, download it, give it a go. Hopefully, it does get extended or gets to stick around for a little bit.
Wish list it though.
Yeah, definitely give it a wish list.
Actually, hold on. Before we, let's see here. Trinity Fusion, blah 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 blah. Where is it? Hold on. I don't want. I wanna. If we still have this live, I want people to see it. Yeah, little bird, I hear you. Where is it? Oh no. Sorry, I should be a little bit better prepared for this. Oh wait, I can just pull it up on Discord. What am I doing? Here we go. Let's see here. Sorry if I'm slowing things down. To answer the question if the bird will be a playable character, I'll have to take that up with my boss. I'm not entirely sure.
Or even like a weapon.
If that is a possibility or not. Oh my God, no, please.
One of the versions of Maya has,
That's
pet
horrible.
bird.
Anyway, I don't know if I can post this in the chat. I'll just post
Maybe
it
she'll
in
be like
the,
a pirate kind of character.
This is probably going to get blocked if I post it in Twitch chat, isn't it?
It'll probably get blocked.
What?
It probably will, yeah.
Okay, I'll just send this to you directly then.
Okay.
We're actually running a giveaway right now. If you wishlist the game, we are giving away a Steam Deck, the 64 gigabyte model. So we have a giveaway running right now. There's like 34 hours left.
Wow. Make sure to get in on that.
If you go wishlist the game, you get entered to win a Steam Deck.
Awesome.
Steam Decks are pretty cool. Also expensive. Cool. So, I mean, getting one free would be pretty nice.
Yeah.
We did have some other questions where someone asked what inspired Trinity Fusion. Did it come in a dream or did someone say, hey, multiverse, let's do that?
I'd have to ask my boss. I don't actually know where this idea came from. I was just like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds good.
And that question actually sparks up another question.
Wait. If you're talking about multiverse. Okay, so multiverse. Sorry, Crusader, I don't mean to cut you off. So
go ahead.
The idea of 3 characters that you switch between in a roguelite was what we started with. Multiverse was how we had all these like cool character designs, and multiverse was like the best justification we had for it. It was just like they all had like, we had groups of them that had like a similar theme, and we're just like, we made all these already. How do we justify like a third of the characters being like creatures, a third of the characters being like low tech robots, and the rest of them being like nanotech cyborgs with like teeth? It's just like, how do we justify this? It's just like multiverse.
True. That's
answer.
how you do everything. Yeah.
That's where everything started from. Anyway, Crusader, I'm sorry I cut you off. What's up?
No, you're good. I was gonna ask, is there any like homages to the developers in the game yet? Is there any Easter eggs or any secrets that we could expect to see, like just nods to the developers?
There's no like Easter eggs yet. We've got a couple of homages to other games in the forms of like moves. For example, Kara has a move that is literally a Shoryuken complete with invulnerable startup. So
I got very excited.
We got a little bit of homages there. No Easter eggs yet. We're not that far along yet. We got a long ways to go before we can start.
It's crazy hearing that when you play the game and you're like, this is playable and it feels good and everything seems like so ready to go. Really
like I said, we got to build like the best foundation we can, so that way we can hit this like sprint where we can just content.
There was also a question saying, how long will the story be? Obviously, it's a roguelite, so it kind of varies a lot. But what's the kind of average playtime that you're targeting for someone to get to like the end of a loop?
That is a difficult question to answer, just because we have the start. We have the middle, we have the end planned out, but all of the content in between, we're still working on. It's all in flux at the moment. So like we know where we want to go. We know what we want the twists to be. We know what characters we want the player to interact with. We got the beginning, we got the middle, the end, and then everything else is just like we're still working on it. It's all Like we've come up with like entire like plot lines that just got dropped because it's just like this doesn't this either slowed it down too much or this doesn't make sense anymore.
Right.
So
That makes sense.
it would be hard to say. I'm not going to make any promises on estimates
You
on like
promise.
yeah, exactly. This is the thing. If I give you a number, it becomes a promise. I can't do that because I don't know.
We don't know yet. Got a ways to go.
Yeah.
And then someone else said, I don't play much side scroller type games, but how does it play? Is it like a bullet hell type game? Is there anything that, for someone who doesn't play a lot of these types of games, is there anything that you could compare it to that you think makes sense? Comparing games can be rough, but just give someone an idea of how it's going to play for them.
Man, okay, so that is actually kind of difficult. So oh man, how do I compare it to other games? Like I said, the game's movement we borrowed heavily from our experience working on like Brawlout and games like Foregone. It's just like, again, cool indie game. Go check it out. It's kind of polarizing. Some people like it, some people don't. I really loved the movement in there. So like the base movement, totally just inspired by that. As for what I can compare it to, I was trying to buy time and I'm still blanking on it. I've heard people compare it to Souls, and I'm just like, that is absolutely not accurate.
I think anything, yeah.
We started with a Dead Cells style of combat is the best way I can put it, and then we started including things like stun gauges, and for Kara, you've got like launchers, so you can do air combos and that kind of thing. So depending on the character you're playing, like if you're playing as Naira, it can get a little bullet hellish because Naira, because she's the ranger, she's got the guns. We throw a lot more ranged enemies at you, and some of them fire multiple projectiles at a time, so it can get a little bit bullet hellish when you're playing as Naira, especially since there's this mage that shows up, and he creates this like field around him, and everything in it, all the projectiles slow down, including the enemies. So if you don't take out the mage, you suddenly have like, okay, so the enemy fired a shot, the enemy fired another shot. The first shot still hasn't left the field, so it's just slowly moving towards you.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't realize that there were more ranged enemies for the ranged character. That makes sense. That's really cool how it changes.
She has the tools to deal with that.
She does.
Whereas the other characters, it's just like there's like one ranged enemy per biome, and with Naira, it's just like, no, there's like 3 or 4.
Very cool.
I saw a question.
Anyway.
How do you feel about difficulty options?
Difficulty options, that is something that I actually feel pretty strongly about. We don't have a difficulty setting yet, is what I will say to that. Right now, we actually do have an escalating difficulty in the game. So on your first runs, it's actually fairly easy, and then we ramp it up to sort of a medium setting until you reach the first boss, at which point it kicks into the hard difficulty version. So as for distinct difficulty settings, not currently implemented, not off the table though. But it is something that we are currently thinking about. We just don't know how exactly we want to do it. If we want to make it just something that scales over time, or if we want it to be automatic, or what. So we are looking at that, as well as some other accessibility things.
Very good to know.
I just
That's interesting.
don't have anything. I just don't have anything more to say about it other than we have this scaling right now in terms of difficulty. Like the first time you play in the Wastes, there's this dude who fires electric projectiles. He doesn't show up on your first runs, period.
Oh, very interesting. And I guess you could do a scaling thing for both ways. Like if someone's really struggling, it could be like, do you want to turn the scaling down? I know that can pop up when people have died a few times and they're like, how dare you? You're calling me bad.
Plus we've got like the permanent upgrades, which sort of makes things
That's
easier
true.
for you. You can start with more health. You can get a resurrection thing. And we're looking into it, but I don't have anything to like say that we're definitely doing yet.
Right.
Because it's not there yet, and I don't want to make promises that I can't keep.
Yeah.
I was surprised that if for a 2D action game, I expected to be able to use the D-pad to move my character. How come you guys decided to go with the analog?
I mean, you can rebind it to the D-pad.
Okay.
In fact, one of the presets in the game is the D-pad.
Is it?
I think it's one of the presets. I think it's preset 2. I might be wrong. I might have been, because when I was making the control schemes, I had the D-pad as movement, and I was just like, my boss was like, but how do you use items? I'm like, you just flick the stick up or down. He's like, don't do that. So you can rebind it yourself if you want. We fully support complete like rebinding of the controls. You can set any button to anything.
That's good.
Yeah.
Always like to see that.
I wonder when the D-pad is going to disappear. It gets used less and less.
It's getting close. It's now just
If you use a Steam controller, it's already gone.
It's already gone. The Switch got rid of it too. Really?
Well, the Switch. I mean, the Switch. It's got buttons.
Yeah, it's not a D-pad.
that are D-pad in arrangement. They have arrows on them. It's not a D-pad, but it's and the Switch Pro controller has a D-pad, and it's kind of an okay D-pad.
Cisco says, "What about using an Atari stick?"
Yeah,
I'll take that as a no.
If you can configure it in Steam Input, you can use it in the game. So if you want to like connect a bunch of Atari sticks using like a Retrode or something like that as an input device, I mean, feel free. I've done sillier control schemes and gotten them to work through Steam Input. So like, just you want to go for it, do it. If you want to play, what was that thing? Like a long time ago, there was this dude who got famous for like a couple of minutes because he built a controller out of like potatoes sitting in water, and he touched the potato, it completed the circuit, and he played Skyrim with it.
That's amazing.
So like, I play Skyrim. It's like, yeah, I can play Skyrim on potatoes.
Yeah, literally.
Then there's the creator who beat Elden Ring on a dance pad, a DDR dance pad.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now they're doing brain-based controllers. Yeah.
I saw that. That was impressive.
Yeah, no. If you can configure it using Steam Input, you can use it to play the game. I've tested every controller that we've got in the office, and it all works. Power Glove Run incoming.
Yeah, I'm in.
Only if you can do the Hadouken move by actually moving the power. Yeah. We need VR next. Bar needs
Connect
VR
support when.
controller. Yep.
Is there any more questions?
I would like to know if there's any kind of fun or interesting thing that happened in development so far. Maybe a bug that came up that you can talk about that's not banned. Because I love those stories of like, yeah, we did this one thing and now all of a sudden the world doesn't load.
I can tell you why I'm not allowed to touch the code base much anymore.
Oh, please.
Yeah, please do.
So for anyone who's played the demo, you're probably familiar with the little robot like bee drone thing that fires lasers at you, right? So yeah. I'm the one who so we got the laser visual effect from the VFX artist that we were working with contract. And I got the laser, right? And I was told, hey, do you know enough to implement this? I said, absolutely. And we didn't have support for like capsule style hitboxes at the time. So I was just like, this laser needs to hit things, but I can't just like cast a line and have it like hit things. I have to actually like use our hitbox system. So what I did was I made the laser basically every single frame. It would cast a series of spheres all in a row along the length of the beam. And that thing could go up to like 500 hitboxes in a row instead of just one hitbox. Because I was like, hey, do we have capsules? Can I use that? Because that would be great. And they're like, it's not implemented yet. So anyway, the game started running really bad. And someone looked at my code and just like, this isn't going to run on this. This is not going to run. I'm just like, please take over. Don't let me do this anymore.
I didn't know what I was doing. I'm sorry.
And so I'm not allowed to touch the code base anymore.
I like that you just answered with, yeah, I could do that.
I mean, yeah. It worked, and it worked good. It just didn't work, it just didn't perform good.
I love those stories. Those stories about development I really enjoy because code is funky and funky things happen.
I am not the best of programmers. I should not be allowed to touch your code base. I've coded a few Discord bots in C#, and that's about it. I coded an engine where the defining feature was that you fell through the floor.
The feature.
It also ran really bad. That might have been Java, though. I don't know.
you say is your favorite part of development when making Trinity Fusion?
My favorite part of development is when we find okay, there are certain bugs that I will just like, because I spend a lot of time testing the game because I'm the main playtester basically, and so every once in a while you'll just hear across the office me just like busting a gut over something. Like there was this one bug that somebody submitted a little while ago that was a variation on if the character dies mid-air. There is a small chance, depending on how the physics on the character, how the knockback the character was taking at the time, it causes the player to just basically fall really, really slowly for some reason. And
Wait, I think I got that bug.
Yeah,
I think that happened to me.
we've just fixed it, and it's just very funny to see when it happens because like you'll see the character get knocked back by like the big shield guy, and you fly through the air, and then you stop, and then it's just like, and in the meantime, I'm just watching all the characters like run around like the character's body. It's just like, oh, that's that's ridiculous. So I think it's the bugs that just are funny.
Right.
Like I should probably make like a compilation of everything that we made in development because there's a couple of bugs where it's just like I just could not stop laughing. There was one where the characters in the hub we have this like head tracking, we have this eye tracking. They look at your character, and Siri, the older woman who is supposed to be the record keeper, she's going to teach you all the lore. She's kind of mean. It was really funny how if you walked in a certain spot and then you crouched, her eye tracking actually caused her eyes to pop out of her head. And it looked like a cartoon.
Tracking too good.
Yeah. It looked like a cartoon. It was really funny. So the bugs like that where it's just like it just creates this unintended comedic effect. That is my favorite part of like developing the game, is because just wacky stuff sometimes happens that it's just like, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what caused this, but damn, am I even going to save a screenshot of that like right now, and I'm going to post it in the Slack because everybody needs to see it.
Yeah, those are great. Ones that are funny, not game breaking, do not stop progress. Ones that you can just look at and laugh.
Yeah.
Great.
It's just like, that can't make it in the final thing, but I want to remember this one. That's my favorite part.
Oh, I have it. I can repost it. There you go. It's the in
repost
chat
what?
is the picture of, I believe, what you're talking about.
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
let's see. Gyazo. That Gyazo is something that yep, that's the one. That's exactly the bug I was talking about.
Amazing. Chuck's very
You just-
surprised.
You crouch in a specific spot, it's just like
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's great.
We should probably start
how
wrapping
did you
this
get
up. Are
access
there
to that
any
one, by the way?
kind of closing
I
thoughts?
don't remember sharing that one publicly.
Wow, this is good. We should probably start wrapping this up. Are there any closing thoughts anybody wants to?
Or anything that you want to share about the game, or any stories, anything really that you'd like to share while we wrap it up.
I think I've hit everything that I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Like I even made myself like a short little things of like things I wanted to say, and it's just like yeah, it's all gone. We've gone through basically everything.
I would
So-
say make sure to check out the demo if you
That's
can
right.
before it goes away from Steam Next Fest. You can download it right now on Steam. Just look for Trinity Fusion and make sure to wish list it, because wish listing is really important.
Yeah, check out that link from earlier because we are giving away a Steam Deck, and the only like entry condition is like wishlist the game.
I will try very hard to remember to link that in the description of this video or podcast as well, so you can
Nice.
click that link to get to that contest to get a
Yeah.
free Steam Deck.
Yeah, wish list and potentially get a free Steam Deck.
Woo!
He's busy.
And whistle it for Burb. Hold on. Any questions we didn't? Oh yeah. What are you doing?
Do you have any closing thoughts? Any closing songs? Any closing tunes?
Any closing
Yeah.
closing songs, little guy? You want to sing the Chocobo theme again? No.
It's like
Oh,
you
he's
gotta go.
cranky.
You go first, and then I'll.
He's cranky. I think he wants to go to bed. Like, he's looking at me like, ah.
Crusader, anything
no.
that you'd like to say?
Nope, that's pretty much everything for me.
Crusader, let me know when you stream the game again. That was really funny. Like I said, watching you fight the bosses. We put it up. We have this TV in like the lounge area of the office. We were just sort of like watching the VOD. Watching you react to the final boss for the first time was extremely funny.
Oh, I'm
Never
embarrassed
tell me the
now.
odds. Never tell me the odds. Never tell me the odds.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about Trinity Fusion. I'm really excited for the game, and take all the time you need because I want the fusions to be fully fusioning. That sounds incredible. But yeah, play it. If you play it right now, even though they're saying it's a long time till it's gonna come out, it feels incredible. It's like
Yeah, it really
Well,
feels nice.
We're
really
aiming
feels
we're aiming for some time this year, but you know,
oh, okay.
like we're aiming for 2023 is the window that we're trying to hit.
Yeah.
You promised.
I shouldn't have said a thing.
You know, anytime you go on Steam and so the game just says 2023, I'm like, so probably not 2023. Unless it has like a Q2, Q3, Q4, and then I'm like, maybe. But if it's just 2023.
I am slightly upset because previously Steam allowed you to put anything for that message. It could be coming soon. They took away our ability to do that.
Oh, really?
Did they?
Now it
I
all
wondered
says-
about that because some
Yeah.
games would just say coming when it's ready or something like that.
Yeah, and like Dwarf Fortress, the coming soon, it just said instead of like release date, time is relative.
Oh, I'm sad,
I'm sad we can't put little jokes like that in anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a serious platform.
Yes.
yes, very serious.
Gaming is serious.
Gaming serious. Serious gamers only.
All right, I think that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you to everybody
so.
who's watching, listening. What else would you be doing?
Reading? We don't
Okay.
have a readable version of the podcast.
Closed
but
captioning is available on YouTube.
Closed captioning. Hey, there you go. You could read it. You could watch it. You could listen to it. You could tweet at us if you wanted to.
Or you can
Brew
go
has
on
one.
Mastodon and toot at us.
Oh, you guys have a Mastodon? I might follow
No, but I'm going to get on it just so people can toot at me.
They changed it to publish. It doesn't say toot anymore.
Oh,
Fucking lame.
I know, right? It used to be toot.
You
And
had
then
something beautiful and you
someone
ruined it.
pointed out to the main dev that that's a joke that means fart, and he went, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, that's
No,
why it
it's
was
yeah,
published.
that's why it's good.
published. Boom.
I was very frustrated when that change came in. I still call them toots.
Oh, forever. Gotta call them toots.
All right, I'm going to play the trailer as we leave. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Have a good one.
Take care.